I wish I had known that, like, hey, girl, you don't need a list. You don't need someone to give you a checklist. Intuitively, you know what you're looking for. And it's okay, like, to trust yourself a little bit more. I remember, like, some of the, like, when I was writing my first book, I'm like, remember the moment of, all right, they're all happy, but I know they can't stay happy. Something has to break them apart. Like, something bad
Yeah.
has to happen. I had no idea that it was called Dark Night of the Soul, Black Moment,
Right,
whatever. Like,
right,
I had
right.
no
Yeah,
idea what the
yeah.
words were. I never read Save the Cat, Romancing the Bee, any of that
Hmm.
stuff. But I knew, you just intuitively know.
Welcome to the Wish I'd Known Then podcast. I'm Sarah Rosette.
And I'm Jamie Albright. And this week on the show we have...
Aimee Robinson.
Yeah, it was a fun episode.
It was. We talked about author intuition
Yep.
and taking a break to do a passion project and how important rest is, all those good things.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot too.
Yeah. I think we're silly as goose poop. You might want to skip this one. I don't know.
No, it's good. There's a ton of good information in it. We talked about learning
really
to trust
good, yeah.
yourself and finding joy. Yeah, it was really good. Also, we will have, when this episode comes out, we will have a supporter episode that is just me and Aimee talking about what we've learned about writing tips and inspiration we've gotten from K-dramas or Asian dramas.
Yeah.
Jamie didn't stick around for this one. I don't blame her because you would have not really enjoyed it. Aimee is a big K-drama fan too, so we kind of geeked out about it.
Yeah.
So that will be on the feed. If you want to support the show, you can get that and the other 20 plus episodes that are the backlist for the supporter episodes.
Yep, that is really great. The last thing I need is another addiction in my life.
So maybe it's better that you don't get into that.
Yeah.
Funny.
And then we're going to do a Q&A episode. So we're still taking questions through this week. If you have a question or you just have something you want us to talk about, just text us, or you can send an email, but text is the easiest probably because it's right in the app.
Yeah. And then this month we're doing, it's the May Pod Pal Shoutout with the Two Authors podcast. So we're listening to their episodes this week and talking about them a little bit. And they're listening to ours and talking about them. And, this will go out next week. So you can go back in this feed and find this one. And this week they talked to Adrienne Giordano, I believe. I hope that's how you say it. Giordano, yeah. She's an author and a book coach. And they talked to her about the wheel of life that she uses to help people get their life in balance. It was a really good one. It was a lot of the topics that we talk about today, actually. So it'd be a good match for this one. And it's worth it alone just to go listen to them speculate about the possibility of having a Murphy desk. Like, instead of a Murphy bed, you have a desk that folds up and is put away at the end of the day. So you stop working.
The way their brains work sometimes is fascinating to me. Yeah.
It is. The link for that will be in the show notes if y'all want to go check that out, or you can just find it on your podcast app.
Do that. We talked about it last week, but the Create Summit, you can still, I think, get tickets now that if you didn't listen to it live, you missed the free thing, but you can get tickets and they're not that expensive. And gosh, I've gotten value out of it. I've heard other people talking about how they've gotten value out of it.
It's been excellent. I went to a couple of sessions and really got some good tips. Some of it was craft and some of it was like marketing and like how to do things more efficiently. It's just really good. I'm really glad we did it. And I have another session today as we're recording this. We did our session on the first day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we were there for the Q&A, for the chat. And then there's one coming up this afternoon that I'm doing with Jennifer Hilt. We'll be talking about tropes today. As you listen to this, it will have last week. We will be talking about tropes last week. But anyway, it's very helpful. It's very good. Lots of good information.
What I like about it is, we recorded our session, but then the recording is going on. People are asking questions in the chat. So like you can answer almost in real time, to what you're saying. And I don't know. I thought it was really great.
Yeah. I think it's helpful because then if you're trying to do it live, you can't really monitor the chat and if people have questions. And then if you leave time for questions at the end, sometimes it's not enough time. This has worked out really good. So got anything going on this week? Got any updates?
Oh, well, I have a few.
It's getting towards lunchtime, and so you have a lot.
It is. I put my book up on NetGalley on the 28th. What was that, Wednesday? And I have like 80 people who I've approved to read and review it. 63 that I did not approve because, it's really important when you're on there to pick the right people. So that was good. I got my first review. It was she was a librarian. She 100% recommended it to libraries. The first sentence is something like, "You need this in your summer book bag." 3 stars. And the 3 stars was a gut punch. Now I had heard,
But
I
now
had
you
been
know in
warned,
reality.
I had been warned, and did I prepare myself? No, I did not. So yeah, and everyone though is saying like 3 stars is a solid review on
Mhm.
NetGalley, but it was hard. I mean, it was hard, but it was good because the
Mhm.
next day I got a 5 star from a book
Mhm.
talk. But it was good that I got that because it was a reminder that I just writing this book is the win. That's the win.
Mhm.
I wrote a book. I wrote the book to honor my sister, and I did in writing it did the second hardest thing I've ever done. The first
Mhm.
being watching my sister die, the second writing about it. That's the win. And I just need to remember that. And, also after I got the 5 star last night, it just was such a reminder again that, reviews are just opinions. They're just people's
Mhm.
opinions. And I have worked really hard over the last, I don't know, 10 years to really not let people's opinions of me bother me. Like, that's their business, it isn't mine. And the same is true of reviews. That's
Mhm.
just, you could get a good one today and a bad one tomorrow, a bad one tomorrow and a good one, or just a mediocre one. And so I think that, everyone has permission to remind me. I just said that. But when I crash out at some point, I'm sure I will. But yeah, that happened. I put the book on Goodreads giveaway. It went live on the 29th. As of right now, I think I have like 3,000 entries. And
Excellent.
yeah, the most I've ever had was like 1,789, 1,800. And I have 2,945 now. And That is that was like the 1,789 were over 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks.
Mhm.
This has been a couple of days. So
Yeah.
very, very glad about that. That's very happy about that. Right now on Goodreads, because of that 5 star review last night, the book has a 5 star review rating because that's the only one that's been, that's come. And I really want to take a picture because that never happens on Goodreads.
For posterity, just take a picture
Exactly.
for posterity right
Yeah,
now.
I'm just gonna, for posterity's sake, I'm gonna remove the one rating, one review kind of thing and just take a picture. But yeah, so that's it.
Oh.
I, the book is live. It's pre-order is up, and I had to do that to do the contract with my narrator, to get that
Mhm.
started. So I was gonna put it on pre-order on Monday, and so I ended up doing it on Thursday night. So it's up, and I'm about to, I think, start running. So I don't know. I think I had, as of last night, like 5 pre-orders. I'd put it up yesterday afternoon, which totally happy with that. I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to be as, I
You're
don't
very
know.
zen about it. You're trying
Yes,
to be
I'm
very
trying to
zen.
be zen. I am not good at it. Yeah, I have 5 pre-orders. I am not good at that, but I don't want to go back. I still miss all the success and all, selling books
Mhm.
all the time.
I
I
mean,
miss
who
that.
wouldn't? I mean, it's a
Exactly.
great feeling.
It's
Yeah.
a fantastic feeling. What I don't miss is all the anxiety that came with that. And I
Mhm.
don't want to go back to that. There's no reason to do that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if I've learned anything over the last 4 years, it is that there are things way more important than my book sales or,
Yeah.
my ads or anything like that.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to stay very calm and zen, and the right people will find this book, and hopefully the wrong people won't. I've tried really hard to structure the blurb and everything else to repel the wrong people.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that this is a good intro to go with this episode today, because Aimee does talk about realizing that it's not what other people are doing should not impact her, and how she has kind of let that go and she's doing her own thing. And it's really hard to separate ourselves from our books. I know that when somebody gives a bad review to my book, or they just have something they didn't enjoy and they take the time to email me and let me know, it's like, it is like a gut punch, so it's really hard to separate that out because it's so close to us.
Also, I have a prohibitive conscience. So, anytime anybody says my name with the slightest little bit of force or anything like that, I'm like, oh crap, what have I done wrong? So, getting a bad review makes me immediately go, oh, I messed up.
Right.
But that's not what I did. So.
On the review thing, though, I wanted to say, I had not heard this, but I was listening to a podcast today and somebody was talking about Netflix. And remember, they used to have the rating that you could do, and they got rid of it. And they said, and I don't know if this is this person's speculation or if this is really true, but they said that they got rid of it because people wouldn't want to rate, like, say they're watching something that would be considered trashy TV. They wouldn't want it to be known that they rated that 5 stars and watched that instead of like the classic, Schindler's List
documentary.
Because that's really what they enjoyed. But they wouldn't want to show that to the world, and that they would rate, maybe not watch Schindler's List, but rate it higher, because that's more kind of like having the best-selling nonfiction book on your coffee table but never reading it.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, that is interesting. I haven't thought about that. But reviews are different because people are usually, for books, they're usually writing their review and writing their thoughts. But it is just a system that it's all so personalized. 2 people can read your book and say, that was so good. And one person will rate it 5, another person will rate it 3. And somebody else will be like, that was so good, 1 star. And they mess up.
I mess up. That's true. That's true too. Well, I think that I'm going to use the pull quote. I'm going to that quote, you should. Of having it in your summer book bag. That's a great quote. So I mean, again, it is not a reflection. I've already won. Everything else.
You have. I mean, if you think back to how you felt
a year
when
ago,
you were thinking, even when you first thought about writing this, you were like, I just don't know if I can. You didn't really even know if you could write another book, if you even wanted to.
Right.
So, I mean, that's quite a change.
So even if the book is a 3-star book, I never thought I'd write a 3-star book again. Like I honestly did not know. So that is where I'm trying to keep my head. I know me, and I know I will fluctuate, but if you hear me whining, you all have permission to remind me that I said this.
We'll cross stitch it and frame it on the wall.
Put it on a pillow. What about you? What's going on with you?
This week has been kind of busy with the summit we did with Monica, doing that. And then I have the one coming up with Jennifer Hilt. And then I've had a couple of podcasts come out this week. And then we recorded a couple of podcasts because I'm going out of town next week. So we're working ahead. I've also been doing some writing. Nothing exciting about that. Just, well, I was going in doing dictation, and then I was going in and using AI to clean it up, to do the punctuation and stuff. And so I went into Claude and I said, hey, I keep doing this over and over again. Can you create an agent or something that will do this for me? And I said, I want it to correct the spelling and punctuation, not change my words at all, no changes to what I'm saying. And if something is unclear, just mark it as unclear and leave it as it is, as best you can. And it said, sure. And it created this little thing. It's got a text box at the top where I can paste the text in. And then it's got a text box at the bottom where the output comes out. And it's working. And I was like, look at me. I created an agent.
Look at you, smarty. Yeah.
Well, not me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was pretty helpful and cool. That's about the coolest thing about my writing this week. I'll tell you about the 2 podcasts that are out this week. The Sisters in Crime Writers Podcast is out. And that is a deep dive that I did with them about my writing habits and mysteries. And if you're interested in that, they have my podcast is out this week. I'll put a link to the show notes in the show notes for it. But they have a long backlist, interviews with all kinds of authors who write all kinds of mysteries and thrillers. And then I'm trying to do my mystery books podcast monthly, trying to do one a month because I figure that's probably good instead of doing, 7 all at once and releasing them over 7 weeks. If I do 7 and spread it out, that's half a year. So the one that came out last month, it's a guide to amateur sleuth mysteries. So this is a podcast for readers. And I list some of my favorite amateur sleuths and some of the things about the genre. And then I mentioned the trope book because I talk about amateur sleuth stuff in there. So if you're interested in amateur sleuth and kind of want to dig into that, I'll put that link in the show notes. And I said I would also put in the link for when Aimee, our guest today, was on my K-drama podcast because we talk a lot about story and structure and character and writing and craft on that podcast as well, because it kind of lends itself to it. K-dramas are pretty similar to books in the way they're structured, like long form content. I think that is all the links that are in the show notes.
All right. Well, that's good. 2 things I wanted to say. One, if you've contacted us about being on the podcast and we said, yeah, we want you, but you haven't heard from Adriel, that's because we are booked. We are booked up. So she's going to start sending out invitations in July. So we haven't forgotten about you, but we're just booked, which we're grateful for.
Yeah, we're glad.
Yeah, exactly. And then 2, my book is on pre-order now if you're interested. However, if you're on my newsletter, there will be a link to get that book a week early for a very discounted price, $3 less than I'm going to sell it but only if you're on my newsletter can you get the link. So you can go to my website if you're interested. If you're not interested, I don't care.
As we've discussed.
I love you anyway. You're not my audience. So but that's it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, should we get on with the episode?
Let's do it. It's a long episode and this is a long intro. So get a snack.
All right. Here's Aimee. Today, we are really excited to have Aimee Robinson here. Hi, Aimee. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Happy to be here and chat with you guys.
We're very excited you're here.
Aimee Robinson used to drive ambulances and write for medical publications, but instead thought it better to lie for a living, as many of us do. Years later, she's entrenched herself in a choice and couldn't dig herself out of it, even if she tried, even if those dangling modifiers continue to get her every single time. After publishing many romance novels, 2 things remain true. She'll never miss an opportunity to give a voice to the characters in her head, and she still has very specific preferences when it comes to a good dry martini. She lives in New Jersey with her family and a shepherd rescue who doesn't know what personal space is.
I've got one of those too, only not a shepherd. Oh gosh. Well, tell us, how did you get into writing, Aimee?
Well, I will say I've always been a words person. I can't say I always knew I was going to be an author, but words always came easier to me than numbers and like math and science and everything like that. So I had started off on the journalism track. I was a journalist for a while for trade publications, medical editing later on, and medical writing. And then it just was like, I just needed a change.
Yeah.
And I knew I always wanted to work in writing in some capacity, but man, journalism just wasn't it for me. And it took like a really long time to realize, like, I think I'm the problem. Like, I don't think it's actually all these different, publications or media that I work for. I think this is just not a good fit. So I left that for a while, took an office job for 9 years, had my family, loved working there. And then COVID hit. And right before COVID, I was planning a family reunion for my husband's side of the family. And I had decided to do a genealogy project for one of his relatives that I found was really interesting. And I had planned this whole family reunion. We were going to get a big house down the Jersey Shore. We're going to have people come from all over. And COVID killed it. So I was flustered, and I was sitting with like all this information that I had done for this project on my husband's family. And I'm like, what do I what do I do with it? I can't just because I was going to do this big presentation and it was going to be like kind of, I had like a thing. I had a
You
plan.
could just abandon it, right?
I could, no. And then
You'd put too much work in. Yeah.
I am stubborn. I'm stubborn. So I remember that a while back, my uncle had done some genealogy research on my family, and he had written it, told a narrative of it, had it published with shelved with the Library of Congress, as an official genealogy record. And I'm like, what if I kind of took what I'd learned and maybe wrote a book about it? But
cool.
Because I am not an academic, ain't no way am I an academic. I love reading romance novels. So why don't I see if there's something here that I can tell a story out of that felt like I wasn't giving up on what I had learned, but also making something really fun and enjoyable. And it turned into my first book, which was a time travel romance. And it was kind of like the main character goes back in time to solve this mystery of her ancestors' untimely death. It wasn't really a mystery, but it was just like the starting off point for how can I tell an adventure story that was deeply rooted in romance, where she goes back in time, she meets this wounded warrior, she does all the things, and I loved it. And that was it. I'm like, I think I want to do this now. I think this is what this felt like a very comfortable outlet for me to use my brain in a way that I loved, and where I didn't have to, where it was just something that I could control. And yeah, the rest is kind of history there.
Wow, did that become a series? Is
yes.
that the series you started?
Yeah. So my first book was called Charmed by the Past, and that became a trilogy, time travel romance trilogy. And it was the first books that I wrote. And actually when I published the third book in that trilogy, that was when I left my day job and I became a full-time writer after that. And it was, for all the ups and downs, it was still the best decision I've ever made. And I've just been writing ever since.
This is a good point to ask our next question, which is, what is your definition of success?
For a long time, and this is still up there, making sure my bills are paid. That's like a big one. That's a big one. You can't ignore
absolutely.
it. No. Yeah. But for me, I wanted to have more flexibility so I could see my family, see my kids. I had two kids I have two kids. And at the time where I was working, man, the commutes were long. And I'm in New Jersey, so the traffic is horrendous. There's tons of people in this state. And
it's a very small state too.
It's a very small state, but yeah. So I was having hour commutes each way. And there were so many times I just if there's a doctor's appointment or if I'm stuck, I can't get there. It was so stressful. And after a while, my husband and I sat down and we're like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're working so hard. We're away from them more than we're near them. And it was like a decision we made where, hey, even if we need to live on less, we're going to choose this. We're going to choose to live on less if we need to, so that we can be a family. And I could actually put them on a school bus. That was crazy to put them on a school bus, not be in before care, after care for 11 hours a day or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the impetus that was okay, how can I write full time? How can I do this? How can I make this a good fit for our family? And that was the thing that was the driving motivator. But yeah, making sure all of our bills are covered, and that would be a marker for me for sure.
Yeah,
success.
Absolutely. And time with your kids that you're not going to get back.
I had them. I wanted them.
Exactly. May as well spend time with them.
Might as well do life together, right?
Yeah, I threw away the receipt. I can't send it back. They're here. Yeah.
Well, and what's if these last 3-4 years have taught me anything, it is that, you know, time is the one thing you cannot get back.
Yeah.
That is everything
Yeah.
else is negotiable, but time you cannot get back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
completely get it.
Yeah.
My kids used to say, because I stayed home too. I
Mhm.
didn't write because I didn't even know I could until later. But, you know, I did all kinds of part-time at home jobs kind of thing.
Mhm.
But, you know, they used to say, we've never been to Disney. I'm like, yeah, and you've never been to daycare either. So, you know, there you go.
It's a
Right?
trade-off.
There you go. Not that there's anything wrong with daycare, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that's the
Well,
trade-off. You
you want to
you
say
make
that?
decisions.
Jamie, we just got back from Disney. It's so funny you said that.
Oh my
And it
God,
was
see?
literally
You
the
can't
best
have
of
it
both
all.
worlds. No, because we never would have been able to do this trip if I had still had my day job because
Yeah,
of the time off.
The
yeah.
scheduling.
The
Yeah.
scheduling was a nightmare because the yeah, so we were like, my husband and I were like, let's just plan this trip because we can do it now. Like, let's do
Yeah.
it. So
Mhm.
we literally just got back. We went like first week this month, and we literally just got back. So it's so funny you say that.
That's so fun. My kids are jealous listening, and they're adults. They're listening to this.
That's funny.
Well,
Me
what do you
too.
wish you'd known about writing and craft?
Okay. I wish that I would have just trusted my intuition a little bit more. So
Mm-hmm.
I love a list. Give me a list. Give me a list, give me
Mm-hmm.
directions, give me step by step how to
Yeah.
do this, and I will follow it. And I did that a lot. So with my first book, when I decided, hey, I want to write, I want to turn all my notes, I want to turn all this stuff into a time travel romance. I've never written a book before. How do I do that? So I can't, like, looking back on it, it's like, who does this? So what I did was I was a big fan of time travel romance, and my favorite author in that genre was at the time was her name's Jessie Gage. And I said, well, I'm just gonna send her a message on Facebook and say, I love your books, big fan. How do I write one? How do I write a book? Would you believe she got back to me? And not only that, she was amazing.
Ah, that's
We
great.
developed like it turned into this wonderful conversation. She sent me like her brainstorming documents, like
Uh-huh.
how
Oh my
she outlines
gosh,
her
that's
like
so amazing.
short-term, short-term goal, long-term goal, goal
Uh-huh.
motivation conflict, like her whole how she does
Wow.
it. We developed a friendship. She read, some of my early drafts of future books. I read
Yeah.
hers.
Wow.
I got to meet her when she came to New York City to visit, and it turned, but in no world does that work
Right.
where like
Don't
you can
count on that.
just don't, yeah, I wouldn't do that. And then I've always, like, since then I'm like, I still have this like urge to follow a list, even when I realize that the lists don't entirely work for me. Like, are you guys outliners at all, or do you
Yeah.
pants? Yeah,
Sarah is,
me.
but I'm not.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
rough list. Like I have a list in my head.
Yeah.
Like as I go forward, I'm like, okay, this has to happen. This has to happen. But
Mhm.
it's not like a document that's clean
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
neat and that I can go, oh, now I'm at point A7 or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't
Right,
do
right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I kind of in between you two, I would say, in terms of how, like,
Yeah.
I like having, what is it? What is it called? Like points on a map. Like,
Yeah.
these are the
Right.
big things that I know need to happen, and I have no idea how they're going to get there in between, but I'll figure that out as I go.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still this like innate part of me that feels like I'm supposed to be following a list. Even
Yeah.
when Theodore Taylor came out with her Universal Fantasy book, I was like, great.
Seven-figure
It's
author.
a list. It's yes, yes, yes. Thank you. It's a list. And I made a document. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have this butter moment, this butter moment, this butter moment. And intuitively, I just like abandoned it and just started writing the book again. And then the same thing when Jennifer Lynn Barnes did her like psychology of fiction, where she
Yeah.
had all these.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, another list to follow. And again, I did it, but I like kind of abandoned it halfway through and just I knew how to tell a story because I had read so much. And I think, writers start out as readers. I feel most of us do. And I wish I had known that, like, hey, girl, you don't need a list. You don't need someone to give you a checklist. Intuitively, you know what you're looking for. And it's okay, like, to trust yourself a little bit more. I remember, like, some of the like when I was writing my first book, I'm like, remember the moment of, all right, they're all happy, but I know they can't stay happy. Something has to break them apart. Like something bad has to happen. I had no idea that it was called Dark Night of the Soul, Black Moment.
Right,
I had no idea what the
yeah.
words were. I never read Save the Cat, Romancing the Bee, any of that stuff. But I knew, you just intuitively know. You've read enough. You know how it has to flow. So I think I probably would have liked to trust my intuition more.
Yeah.
That I knew what I was looking for. Like I knew what I would want out of that story.
Yeah.
But it was still
if
fun
you
to
were
just,
the reader,
yeah. If you were the reader,
Yeah. On my phone, my screensaver on my phone is, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because there's some people that may not have heard it, but it's a quote by Ray Bradbury, and it says, your intuition knows what to write, so get out of its way. So
that's great.
Or get out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's so true. If you just dial into that, you do know what to write. We make it harder than it needs to be. I mean,
really
don't get me
is.
wrong. It's hard. It's hard.
It's very hard.
But your intuition knows. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like trusting yourself. But I will say, when I was a new writer, learning to trust myself was a skill that I had to figure out how to do over the years. You know, I couldn't say like, it's easy for me to say, like, oh, just trust yourself. I mean, you know what you're reading, but like I did in the beginning, you don't know, especially if you're used to, following directions, or if you're used to writing, I don't know, like if you come from a writing background and you're writing like technical documents, or if you're used to certain procedures in your writing, it's easier said than done for sure. But I would have loved to have been, I think it would have made made a little bit less friction in the writing process. Like,
yeah. One thing that's really helped me is Becca Syme talks about certainty and how certain strengths seek certainty. That's one thing that I realized that it slows me down, because I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm going. But she said, go ahead and push into that and go ahead and write it, even if you're not 100% sure. And I feel like it's like pushing into the dark, like feeling around, like when you get up in the middle of the night and you kind of know where everything is, but you're hoping you don't run into the furniture. It kind of feels like that. But it always turns out, like it always comes, the words come as I go in the story. So yeah, the intuition it's a process to learn to do that. Right.
I've also gotten myself in trouble by following my intuition. Let's not.
It's not all 100% positive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What about marketing? What do you wish you'd known about marketing?
Oh man, I would say that it is, how do I say this? Okay. It is none of my business how somebody else runs their business.
No, girl, preach.
And I only can say that after trying everything under the sun. And I'm not just talking like, oh, I tried this for a month, I tried this for 2 months or whatever. Every, widely known marketing tactic in the self-publishing space, I'll say, I have tried for each one for like a solid year at a time.
Yeah.
And on different series, different books, different starters. And the thing that always I kept chasing is those perfect little screenshots in those writer groups that have the numbers in them. And the numbers like have a lot of zeros at the end. And they have, and man, I realized that I don't have all of the numbers in that equation. All right.
Yeah.
They're present, and like I'm happy to have my pom-poms and cheer on other people. I love seeing authors like get success, but I don't have all the numbers in the equation that they are presenting. They only show me what's on the other end of the equal sign. I don't know how their brain is wired. I don't know what their daily schedule is like. I don't know if they're care providers for a parent, a child, a dog, or whatever. I don't know if they are, how many words they can write a day, how many days they have, if they do it full time. There's so many things. I don't know if they're
how much they spend on advertising.
Yes, that's it. That's the one, Jamie. I don't know. There's so many things I don't know. And for so long, I was just seeing these numbers of like what's possible. And when you're new, you're like, yeah, because if you can see it, you can dream it, kind of thing.
Right.
And there was hope that's like, hey, this can be really a wonderful career if I can get things right. And man, you can drive yourself crazy trying to live off of someone else's formula.
Yeah.
Like it was just
Absolutely.
hard. So I went through like a period of kind of like reflection. So there was a podcast with Aimee Award on Spa Girls, and she talked about how she was launching a brand new pen name. She was a paranormal romance author for a lot of years under another pen name. She was launching a new pen name of contemporary sports romance, and she writes like plus size romance where the heroines are plus size. Writing a brand new pen name, and she was talking about her experience of launching it with the Spa Girls, and it just blew up in the best way. Okay, best way. And the hosts were, and they're like, I love listening to them as well. Like they're wonderful women to listen to, and I learned so much from them. And they were saying, well, you learned so much from your 10 years of publishing under your paranormal romance name. Like you had like a wealth of experience and knowledge and resources, and you were an excellent writer. And I've never heard anyone else say this, and I'm so happy that Aimee Award said this. She said, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, you guys are so kind. Thank you for saying it. But there was an element of luck and timing that happened here. I could never have predicted that literally the same month, I think it was down to like the same week or two that she launched her football romance, was the same week that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift announced they were dating. And the drive for sports romance at the time shot up. She hit it, and I was so appreciative of hearing someone say, yeah, I worked really hard. I worked hard at writing. I worked hard at marketing. I did all the things. I could never in a million years have predicted that this was going to hit at the same time. And when I heard her say that, it was such like a mindset shift. It really was, because this is an entertainment industry, and it is fickle. Yeah, you can do everything right. You can do so much right. Like buy the book, a list. I love my lists. You can do everything right. And I mean, I just think about all the writers I've heard so many stories, and maybe you guys have heard similar stories where they had a, dystopian novel coming out like the second week in March 2020, or they had some sort of like human plague kind of thing happening. And the timing was like awful. And you can't know those things. And it in no way diminishes the work that you've done. Like it in no way diminishes any of that. But once I realized, like, man, I could do everything right. I can write the best story that I'm so proud of that hits all the marketing beats. I can do, I can have spot on ads. I can have brilliant marketing copy. I can hire so many, like a social media manager to run. I can do all the things. And there's still an element that's out of my control. Man, when that like sank in for me, it's like, I'm just gonna tell the stories I want to write, do my best, do all the things. But, if there is an element that I can't control here, then, it reminded me of like, hey, why did I start telling stories in the first place? Because I had a story I wanted to tell.
Right.
And I'm gonna keep that in mind as I move forward, because there's stuff that you can't control. And it was so, man, it totally changed how I thought about everything, how I moved through my business day by day. And it also like, so people push hard work, like this phrase hard work. And this is going to sound like I'm an idiot, and I promise I'm not totally, but I don't know what that means. Because does it mean a certain number of chapters a day, a certain number of words a day? Is it a certain number of hours? Are you spending like half of your day writing and then half of your day marketing, and that means you're working hard. I don't know what it means. I was like spiraling with it. And I'm like, man, Aimee Award was totally genuine when she was making these comments. And it's like, yeah, I'm just going to write my books. And if I see that books are taking off, then my marketing efforts will amplify that.
Sure.
But just
Yeah.
staying in my comfort zone of writing the stories I wanted to tell and trusting a little bit that, like, hey, you can't predict everything. There's some elements that are out of your control. It really was a game changer for me.
It gives you a lot of freedom in a way, right? Just to kind of, like you said, lean into what's working and focus on that and write the stories you want. I mean,
yeah. And I've been so much happier because of it. Like it's definitely improved the amount of joy I experience in this career, because it can be a grind. It can be very solitary. You're man, it's got high highs, but it feels like it has a really low lows also. And so any place that I can find joy and like that enforces it, amplifies it, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna live here now. I'm just gonna live in this.
It's a really good place to live. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Well, what's the most unhelpful advice you've ever gotten?
Unhelpful advice. Oh, okay. I have. I'm going through like
you could come up with one.
The Rolodex was rolling.
Yes. I was going to say Rolodex, but I'm like, do people know what Rolodexes are anymore? I don't know.
We do.
I mean, there's a lot of it out there. The big ones of Becca Sion, who I adore so much. I adore. She talks about anytime you hear the word just write for 15 minutes or just do this. It's implying a skill set that someone else has that maybe you don't. I had tried writing sprints really a lot. Writing sprints are not for me. I'm very high focus. So like, I love a good long stretch of time. I'm talking hours for me to really get up to steam. And every time I tried these like writing sprints of like 15, 20, 25 minutes, I hated myself. I hated the 10 words I managed to get on the page. I hated everything about the experience. And and like everyone that I was sprinting with is like, I got 1,100 words. And I'm like, great. I got 10 and I'm going to delete them. Learning that, Becca says, question the premise, but also it's okay to realize when something is working for someone else. You don't need to jump on that. If it really feels wrong to you, sure, it's okay to try, but that's like the big one. The nitpicky piece of advice that I got a lot that was totally unhelpful. Oh, I got this from so many people. Like, it's not, I'm like at least half a dozen people or more over the years had very strong opinions and talked to me about series length. How many books should be in a series? So you should have one book. You should start with one book, but you should just keep writing book ones over and over again because you want to see if it's going to hit. But you can't just make money on one book. So you have to have another book because you need someone to go there. But who's just going to read 2 books? Duologies are not that big. You need a trilogy. Trilogies are the sweet spot. It's readers like it. It's nice and short, but you're not going to get enough money from the read through. So 4 books is good. 4 is good. It's a nice even number, but 4 is a very superstitious number in a lot of cultures. Like, there are entire cultures that won't go anywhere near things that are divisible by 4. So that's out. 5 is a good number. 5 is excellent, but it's not quite long enough to support your career. You want one of those big, meaty 8, 10 book series but you can't sell them on Amazon. You need to sell them on Kobo, and you need to sell them on your Shopify store. You need to sell them everywhere. Oh, it was so exhausting. I'm not saying the advice was garbage. It works for everyone. Everyone has their own thing. But you're just like, hey, I have an idea for a book. And then it spirals into, how many books is it going to be? Have you thought about how many characters you're going to have? You can't just do 1, 2, or 3, or 7, or 10. You need to have an anchor series that's got 15 books, that this is going to be your IP, your breadwinner for the rest of your career, that you can do spin-off series of for the rest of your writing years. It was so silly and exhausting. And I'm not like, I'm obviously cracking jokes here. I'm making light of it. And it's not like a main worry that I think a lot of authors have. But it
Right.
was one of these things that just was like, everyone I talked to had a different idea of what the ideal series length was for them. And they all had different reasons. And, there are people who, hey, I finish a book. If I don't see it's hitting after 2 books, I'm done. I move on. And other people are like, no, you need to wait at least 3 to 5 books before you see if that series is getting going. And then you make your decision. So it was, in the end, I walked away. I'm going to write what I want to write and see
Right.
how the length plays out, see how much time I want to commit to a series. Because one of the things right now is I kind of am in the process a little bit of writing a few book ones because I wrote a standalone and now I'm starting a new project. And writing book one after book one can be very like cerebral. You're creating a brand new
Right.
world over and over
Mhm.
again. And I kind of just want to sit in like an established world for a bit. I don't know. How long are your series? Like what length are your series? What's your ideal spot?
Well, I think
Sarah
it
has long series.
yeah, I think it depends on genre because mystery readers, they love that episodic,
Mm-hmm.
this can go on for 20 books, but that's a lot to take on as an author, especially in the beginning when you're thinking, oh, I'm going to write 20 books in this series, maybe that's a lot. But for me, my series tend to end up like 6 to 7 books is what they've been in the past.
Yeah.
That I feel like that's a good place for me. I'm trying a trilogy though, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I have 5 books in one series and 2 books in another. So, and
Yeah.
then I just wrote a standalone. So,
Yeah.
who knows? I
It
follow
doesn't, I don't,
very few rules.
yeah, like think for the people it matters to, it's important. It makes them feel good to
Well, it's
have like
worked for
a
them.
plan.
It's worked
Yeah,
for them. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
And we all, because this business is so out of our control, we want to
Mhm.
feel like there is something in our control. And that's one
yes.
of the things you can kind of control. So I get
Yeah.
it. I get why people say it, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And I know like I'm a completionist, so I have to finish the series I'm writing.
Oh, yeah.
Even if like the numbers are telling me, oh, after book 4 they're kind of falling off and it's not as I I'm very future focused. So I know, and I've also been burned by so many like beloved authors who like they stop writing in the middle of a series and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that, hey, even if this series is losing steam right now, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it because if, I don't know, like Anne Hathaway is photographed on a beach tomorrow reading one of my books, and I have to
Yeah.
revisit this series that I stopped writing 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I won't be able to get back into the groove
That's
of
not
that.
going to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember these
Exactly.
characters. I don't even think I like these characters anymore.
Yeah.
Like, who the heck
Exactly.
knows?
Exactly.
Yeah. Jamie and I have
Yeah.
talked about this. Like once we finish
Mhm.
even a book, once we finish a book, that's done. Those characters,
Mhm.
even though
Yeah.
it's a
They're dead
series,
to
like
us. Yeah.
they're dead
Yeah.
to us.
I agree. Like, I feel like my life has several before and after moments. So before my sister's death, yes, I was a completionist. Like, I was all on that bandwagon. Like, you need to finish a series, like because you never know what'll happen in the future.
Yeah.
But I was 2 books into this series, that the series that has 2 books, and then my sister died, and now I don't know that I can go back and write that series. Like, I am a different person now.
Right.
There are things that are different. I don't know that I can do that. I might at some point, but I've given myself the grace to go, you know what? 2 books is 2
Yep.
books. And it's not like I left anybody really hanging. It's a
Right.
little hanging because you know how you do when you're setting up another book. But it's nothing major, and I don't really owe anybody anything. So
Right. It's not
that's,
like George Martin where he's like that last book of Game of
exactly.
Thrones and he ain't gonna write that thing.
Yeah, exactly. So
Like,
just to give some people, like, I do agree with you, but
yeah.
there
Sure.
are
There are
extenuating circumstances
exceptions.
sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And there are people too where it's like, hey, I'm in this for the money. And this is a
Yeah.
business. It needs to be profitable. I wrote 2 books in this series. It's not hitting. I'm moving on. And that's
Yeah.
perfectly valid. And like everyone has their own circumstances. And, there's only you can say what's right for you. Again, this is also going back to
Correct.
like the marketing talk, the ad talk.
Yeah.
It's like if you need to, only you know your own equation. You know,
Right.
you know how
Right.
much you have to give to a project. You know what
Correct.
you're willing to risk, and you know what you
Yeah.
hope to have on the other side of that equal sign.
Mhm.
Nobody else can
Yeah.
tell you that.
Well, I want to go back to when you were talking about the freedom and the joy of writing, you know, kind of releasing some of those, I must do these things, and I'm going to do this thing I want to do. And you have a holiday book that I think that, does that kind of fall into that category that you wrote it because you wanted to?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That was sure. So it came out last October. It's called The Hanukkah Hoax. It was truly a passion project for me. And I knew that going in. I had my expectations set. You know, I had just gotten out of a long series. I wrote a paranormal romance series that was 8 books. And I was when I was writing that series, that it was at a pace that was not uncomfortably aggressive, but it was a productive pace. I worked to deadline. I worked to pre-order dates. Like I was at I built in time for vacations and whatnot, but I was moving. And then I finished this series. I'm like, man, I don't have anything immediately that I need to do. Like, no, I tied everything up. There was no characters waiting for me. I hadn't promised anything that I needed to deliver on. And I'm like, rather than start a new series, I really think I just want to tell a story that's not like on brand necessarily. And I don't even know what, like, I don't have, like, my brand is me. It's my author voice. It's like, it's just me. That's it. I don't have, I do write in different genres because that's how my brain works, different subgenres of romance because that's what's comfortable for me. But I wanted to have a little bit of a passion project where there was no pressure, no pressure, no one waiting on anything. And this particular project I was so excited to tell because I got to tell the story of a woman she's a Jewish woman, but she's not like she's more secular. She is just like any other heroine in a holiday winter northeastern winter, snow winter kind of holiday romance novel. She just happens to be Jewish. She happens to celebrate Hanukkah. It wasn't the onus of her identity, which sometimes when you are reading or writing about groups of people that are not as well represented in fiction, sometimes there can be a risk of like, oh, the character has to explain why she is the way she is. Why does she exist? Let's ask her all the questions about why you do what you do. And it can be really exhausting. And it's like, can't she just fall in love? Like, she's just a person like anyone else. And this was the project where I just let myself just dream a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a fake dating romance, holiday romantic comedy. I really got to lean into the comedy here, which was so fun for me because I love the snark and sass and like a little bit of that dark humor. Just from my background, when I did EMS, you kind of get a lot of dark humor, gallows humor, pick up on that. It's not like, it's still all completely appropriate for a romantic comedy, but I just got to lean into that a little bit more. And it's a fake dating romance where she has to enter into an arrangement with a Scottish rugby player who,
as one does,
right? Like, come on, totally. And because like you very rarely see ever exactly 0 times do you see like a Jewish girl get a Scottish rugby player. Like, that's not happening. And he has like a giant 230-pound Mastiff dog who loves her.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that. I didn't know where you were going. I was a little worried.
Jamie's going, we're a family-friendly podcast here.
Editing. What I was getting.
No, that's staying in.
Owner of a canine, a dog. That's what I was trying to say. He's a giant dog, 230-pound dog, Mastiff, who like loves her and hates him. there's just like that big animal sidekick companion thing. And I just got to write all the humor but still having like those like just like the cozy winter holiday vibes. Like she is still like she sells Christmas for a living. All right. She runs a candy shop. She runs a candy shop. Christmas is her holiday for money, and her she has to get out of the black, out of the red. Black. Yeah, thank you. And it was just so fun. It was
That's
like
great.
So rewarding, because I feel like, man, every now and then, like when you have the opportunity to write a passion project, like, and you're not putting pressure on yourself, and like also you set like the right expectations. If you are doing this as a business, some people, if you're writing as a hobbyist, do you, but it was really freeing to go into this project with the right expectations and the excitement to tell a story that you maybe don't see on the shelf so much, because there is not as much representation, to just lean into all the funny, all the, you know, size puns, Jamie, whatever. Yeah, it was a blast. And it's not like any of my other books in the sense, like, it's not supernatural. There's no magic in it. And I was worried initially, like, I've only ever written books with magic. Is this going to be like weird? Are they not going to? And then I'm like, I just got to write this for me. This one book has to be for me right now. I'm in a point where I'm not committed in any sort of contracts or series. So I'm just going to do my thing. And I loved it. It was so wonderful. Great. I have to tell you, so that book, I did my first in-store book signing for. I'd never done a book signing before. Yeah. It was so great. It is a bookstore in Central Jersey called Charmed and Bound. And it was New Jersey. It was Central New Jersey's first romance-only bookstore. And so I was their first signing author, because they had just opened up like the month before, earlier in the month. And it was so awesome. Fun. I have like, zero regrets for going, going off the rails a little
side
bit.
quest.
Yes. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. It was highly recommend.
So speaking of side quest, but like so your books are time travel with paranormal, which really time travel is paranormal.
Yeah.
You're only getting there one way. And getting back if you get back. But tell us about, like, what was behind the decision to kind of blend those genres like that?
Sure. So I have two full series. First was a time travel romance. The second one was a paranormal romance. And a long time, I was a very new writer at the time, and I really was like, I want to write paranormal, but I wrote time travel. Is that going to mess people up? Are people going to no, you got to stay in your lane. You got to do, And then I'm like, at the time I wasn't like, I had readers who I loved, who were wonderfully supportive, but it's not like I was Colleen Hoover or something where it's you go write crime fiction now or whatever. It's like, I was still new in my industry. So like, well, then if I'm ever going to have a time to play around, this is going to be it, where there's low risk and I can kind of tell some fun stories. And specifically, Jamie, to your question, when it came to like the magical elements, the supernatural elements, my first literature love, my favorite kind of trope niche of all time is a fish out of water trope, where
love it.
The heroine has to rely on, she's in some sort of circumstance that's brand new to her, and she has to rely on the hero to navigate and get her out of it. And that I will eat that up. I will order a dozen of them. I want the subscription box. I will be there forever. That is like what got me into like those kinds of stories. I just love the fish out of water story so much. And so I was a fan of those two genres. Like I just was a fan. You start, I think that's kind of normal. Like, you write what you like to read.
You write what you like to read.
Yeah. And I started there because it was what I enjoyed so much. And it was like, it also made those specific subgenres make it so easy to add tension. Like you have built-in tension. You don't, it's not character driven so much as, hey, the main character is in a setting that is unfamiliar to them. How are they going to navigate this? Who are they
Right.
going to rely on to get them through? Are they going to rely on themselves? Are they going to have to, how are they going to navigate? It's like, it's built, it's like set and forget in terms of, hey, how can I jump off a story? And it was really, I think like for newer writers, if they're ever interested in kind of like that speculative side of those subgenres, it's fun to play in because because the conflict is not character driven initially. It's plot driven. It's from the element of time travel or the element of like, hey, I just realized they're like fallen angels are real and I'm stuck in this battle. Like I at the wrong place, wrong time. And now these demons are after me. And like, what's going on? I was just buying groceries a minute ago,
Yeah.
there's a whole world I didn't know about. It makes it so like there's like a jumping off point. You don't have to think about the initial conflict. That's already inherent in the genre expectations. And it makes it fun to like imagine, okay, well then how is this story going to play out? I don't have to worry about the impetus. I don't have to worry about the inciting incident so much other than like how I'm going to arrange it. I know what's going to happen. And then it's almost like a roller coaster. Like you're up the hill already. And now you can just kind of like lean into how the story is going to unfold naturally. And it's really fun. I just love those genres.
That makes me think of, we had emailed back and forth about this. One thing you wanted to talk about was mental rest, what to do. Was that what your holiday book was? Was that a mental break for you?
The holiday book, that was definitely part of the mental reset for sure. And like I said, I was at a point where everything was wrapped up. So I felt comfortable with just playing. I wouldn't have felt comfortable if I still had some open-ended things. It was literally things happened at the right time. Like all the things kind of had to come together. And even now, the holiday book's been out for since October, and I'm working on a new project, and it's still really freeing because I am choosing to work a little bit slower. It's freeing, but it's scary, because we're so wired for productivity. Like I don't know if it's like an American thing. I don't know if other cultures have this. I don't think they are as crazy as we are, but if you're not moving, you're losing, like why are you just, what do you mean you just spent like an hour and a half watching a K-drama? You should be writing. Like, what are you doing? So it's very strange. It's strange. It's definitely the opposite of a lot of the, I'm not going to say advice, but I feel like for me, I needed to reset a little bit, kind of figure out where I wanted to go without the pressure. And I'm writing a new series right now, and it's great to just dream a little. But here's the thing though. I'm a former journalist. I write to a deadline. And I'm doing all the things that Becca Syme would tell someone with my strength specifically not to do. And it's definitely taking longer. I don't have deadlines because right now the nature of my life requires me to be flexible. So I'm choosing to not set editor deadlines and cover deadlines and all that stuff. But man, it's hard. It's so hard. It's taking me so much longer, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And I feel like you have to, I'm not saying you have to, no one has to do anything I say, but it's nice to kind of learn how to balance what it feels like to work in a state of rest with that, and learning how to temper the frustration of I should be doing more, but do I have to be right now? And I also recognize I'm coming from a privileged place where I'm able to take this rest. Not everyone is able to do that. But sometimes if you
don't take the rest, then you're forced to do it.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
That's worse. That is worse.
Yeah. And it's for me to like consciously take a rest a little bit. I feel like everyone needs a rest day, even when you're going. If you're like even going to the gym, 7 days a week, you still need a rest. And what I've really been sitting with is this idea of like, Becca Syme has been talking about like the 4 predictors of success in the author industry. It's like hard work, talent or skill, luck, and timing. And when you realize that Those last two, they're out of your control. I'm still going to write the best book I can write. And who knows what's going to happen 10 years from now? Who knows what's
Right.
going to happen? And just realizing like, hey, I don't have to be on this hamster wheel right now. Again, it's different if I was in the middle of a series or if I was, had commitments or contracts or something like that. But it is, if someone is able to build in a passion project into their schedule and work at a slower pace, even just for a little bit, it's kind of like your rest day for workouts is a rest day for your mind, and not having those deadlines and learning how to work at a slower pace. It has done a lot for me. I go on walks a lot. I listen to lots of podcasts. You guys is one of them. Like I've stepped back from a lot of the heavier marketing podcasts and started picking up more podcasts on just straight writing and craft from any writer, like writers from traditionally published, indie, like all over, and just listening on YouTube, listening to other talks about writers. And then when you hear traditional publishing is a different career path for sure. But man, when you hear how long it takes a traditional published author to write, it's like, hey, me taking a few weeks off here is not bad. It's not bad at all. So in line with that, Brandon Sanderson, he teaches a class at the university out in Utah. Oh, it's the big one. What's it called? Brigham Young? I think so. Yeah, I think that's the big, He does like a class on writing in science fiction and fantasy. And this past year, they filmed it and they put it up on his channel. And at the end of the class, he gave his final thoughts. One of the lines he said, and I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't remember it exactly, but it was essentially, if you're writing a book, you are an author, and I consider you a colleague. And that impression, whatever you think about him is, that's not but the impression that I was left with is it's not a race, even though sometimes it might feel like a race. And we're all still in this, we're all still in a very fickle entertainment industry. And we are just colleagues, because, one of the phrases that, again, how I went on my gripe about, I don't know what hard work means because I'm an idiot that way. I also, there's another phrase that indie authors tend to use more than traditionally published authors I've heard, is like baby author, the phrase baby author. And that's another one that I don't know what it means. Is it an age thing? You are physically younger than someone else? Is it you don't earn as much as someone else? You haven't been publishing as much? Is it someone who hits with their debut, they hit the lists? Are they a baby because they've only had one book, but they're bringing in big bucks? I don't know what that means. And I think at the end of the day, we're all just writers. We're all just colleagues. We're in the same industry. And it's good. I'm very happy to hold my pom-poms, cheer on whoever is having the success, because this is a hard freaking business. It is so hard. And the ones who keep writing, the ones who stick around, who keep writing, those are the ones I love learning from. The ones who are still doing it, still here. I love learning from them. And slowing down's been nice. Slowing down has been nice. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like, when you feel like, all right, I've had enough rest.
You're ready to get back at it.
I'm almost approaching that point, but I think it's important. At least it was important for me. Yeah, it was important for me. And I get to see, this is unrelated to that, but a lot of these principles that have kind of helped me through this were things that Becca Syme has taught in her Clifton Strengths coaching. And I get to meet her for the first time this summer. Have you guys ever met her?
Yeah.
You have? I get to meet.
We're like this. We're like this with Becca.
Oh, yes. So
she was our first guest. She was our first. She's the reason this podcast even exists. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So she had a Kickstarter recently, and I backed it because I'm a very selfish human, and I wanted to meet her. And one of the tiers was to have her come to where you live and do a pop-up event there. So she's coming to Jersey in August, and I am so excited. I'm going to try to not jump on her head and hug her.
You're going to have so much fun. It's going to be great.
Cool. Yeah, it's like it's like meeting an idol or something like that. I'm going to try to
Oh, that'll be fun. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Well, this has been so great. We love to ask all our guests, what do you think the best thing you've done to set yourself up for success has been?
For me, I will say that this is directly related to my editorial background because I was an editor and writer in a lot of capacities for a lot of years. But my brain is very detail oriented. And whenever I write a book or do any sort of project, that thing is buttoned up tight before I abandon it completely and never look at it again. So meaning I have all of my links are quadruple checked or whatever. Like my links go to things that will never change. My reader magnets and my bonus epilogues and all of that stuff everything is in a very tight loop so that I can abandon it and know that if someone picks this up 5 years later, it's still good to go. Like it still is tight. And I don't have to think of like, oh, I never did a reader magnet for that book. I always write a bonus epilogue for my books. It's just another little quick scene, usually something fun and snarky. And I tease it at the end. At the end, my back matter, I have like, here's the next book, and then here's a fun scene, and thank you for leaving a review. And I just make sure it's complete. And then sometimes it takes a little more work in the minute. It's like, oh, I really don't want to write another scene. I'm done with these people. I'm done with these people. But, just I push through for a little bit just so that I know, hey, that thing is set and that's going to bring me in readers on its own when my brain has moved on to like, the next series. And even if you don't want to, like in the moment, it's like kind of eating your vegetables sometimes. It's like,
just gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
Do it, but it'll, future me will thank me.
Well, this has been so fun. Tell everyone where they can find out about you and your books and all your stuff you've got online.
Sure. The best place to find me is at my website, Aimee Robinson Romance, and you can sign up for my newsletter there. I do send that out regularly. Social media, I am there, but I am less active there than I am on my newsletter, especially when I'm currently in the middle of a project. If I'm writing, I tend to put my focus on that. So sign up, and all my books are available at all retailers. I'm a wide author, so you can get them anywhere.
Okay, great.
Very good.
Yeah, we will have all those links in the show notes. Thanks for listening today. If you've gotten value from the podcast and would like to send some value back our way, you can support us at wishidknownforwriters.com/support. And don't forget to check out the Two Authors podcast this week as well. And we will see everybody next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.